And the prompt this week is a sunflower. I always start my paintings with a really detailed sketch. So I've used a grey watercolour pencil, a light grey, and a really light coloured lead pencil. And then I'm starting with a really light wash. This is a Winsor yellow colour. So the paint that I've used here is Winsor & Newton. And I'm just putting everything on with a round 2 Princeton Heritage brush. I always try and start with the lightest colour in a painting. And I try here adding the shadow while it's still wet, so doing wet on wet technique, but I'm not liking it. It's spreading a little bit too far and taking over the petals. So I decide I'll just put the light wash down first, and then I'll come back when it's dry and add the shadow. And sunflowers are they're not complicated to paint, but there's a lot of detail in them. I think I forgot how detailed they are when I started this. So the colour that I used here is Permanent Sap Green. And I'm just trying to leave some of the lighter bits because I'm going to go back and do some negative painting on these leaves. I've added a little bit of shadow while it's wet. So now I'm trying to turn it from a big yellow blob into something that you can recognise. And I keep experimenting with the shadow colour. I felt like initially it was a little bit too dark, so I've added more yellow to it, a little bit of yellow ochre. And then as I get round to where the sun's hitting it, I add a lot more Winsor orange to the shadow, just to bring out those orange tones. With realistic painting, it's these shadows, these details that bring it to life. They separate the petals and start to make it look like an actual flower. And right now the painting's looking like a hot mess, and it's in that ugly teenage stage where you're thinking this isn't going to work. The reason that I like painting in a sketchbook is because I don't want to tear the page out, so it makes me commit to the painting. So rather than grabbing another piece of paper and starting again, I try and just persevere with it. It's been really great for my watercolour painting to paint in a sketchbook. So this is where I'm doing a little bit of negative painting. So you're painting the dark bits and leaving some of the lighter parts here particularly. So I'm leaving where there's lighter parts, where there's shadow hitting the leaves, where the sun's hitting it. So it's not looking like the original. And you can see from these side by sides, the yellow's not right. I need to add a lot more orange. So I've added some cadmium orange and some Winsor orange so that this sunflower starts looking a bit more like a sunflower. And the part that I love the most of the sunflower is this middle bit. So I decide that with this painting, I'm going to try and really focus or try and draw the eye into that middle bit. I want that to be quite detailed. And I'm not going to a lot of trouble with the petals. I don't have time. And I'm trying to just not fuss too much with my paintings. I'm adding some white gouache here, which is something I almost always do at the end of a painting. If I've gone a bit too dark or it's just lacking a little bit of light, then I'll add this in. And I keep switching brushes, but they're all Princeton Heritage up until this point, and they're either a number 1, a 0, or a 2. I might have used a 6 too. I'm trying to get the petals to curve a little bit so that they don't look quite so flat. And I'm adding a little bit more orange here, just so it looks like the sun's actually hitting it. And now I'm using a 5-0 detailer brush because I decide I do need to put the little tiny dots in the middle. I was trying to get away without it, but and I've zoomed in so you can see the sort of detail that I decided to go with the middle bit. Thanks so much for watching. Please, if you like this, could you subscribe and like at the bottom?